5 weeks into the off season. It's my second back day for the week. 10 weeks of off season left to go. And over these next 10 weeks, my only focus is increasing the amount of weight that I can lift on these exercises and the amount of reps I can do with that weight. The pitfalls of dieting. Why are you not losing weight even though you're eating in a deficit? Well, let's just be honest with ourselves here and understand that you literally cannot create fat tissue and you cannot build muscle tissue from thin air. You have to get the food to cause that to happen. There is no amount of hormonal changes in the body, lack of sleep, or any fairy magic that's going to store body fat on you without you overeating. That's just a plain and simple fact. So at this point now that you know, check yourself. Ask, am I adding anything to my diet that I hadn't been adding to my diet originally? Let's say you weren't adding sugar-free ketchup to your meals and all of a sudden you've started. Let's say you weren't adding drink flavoring to your water and now you've started using a bottle of Mio every single week. Maybe you're adding a lot of Crystal Light packets. You're drinking BCAAs throughout the day because it tastes better. You're adding low-calorie sauces to your chicken and rice, or maybe lots of hot sauce to your breakfast. All these little things, even though the labels say they have 0 calories, look at the labels and look at every single one of those ingredients. There's usually maltodextrin, which is a form of a carbohydrate, some canola oil in trace amounts. And what you need to understand is that these nutrition facts labels, if they make the serving size small enough to where the calorie count is lower than 5 calories, they technically are not required to put any amount of calories on that label. There's a flavoring I like to use on my eggs and grits. It says 5 calories, and yet the serving size is a quarter teaspoon. I use a whole tablespoon, which is 12 quarter teaspoons. That means I'm actually getting 60 extra calories in, and I have to actually account for that in my diet. And if I don't, I will think I'm eating at a deficit and somehow maintaining my weight, which wouldn't make any sense. The other major pitfall are untracked cheat meals. You need to actually make sure that your cheat meal is within boundaries. You can undo all the progress of an entire week by going a little too crazy on a cheat meal. What a cheat meal actually should be is a replacement of a normal meal that you have. My favorite way to take a cheat meal is not eat all day on a rest day and then eat all my calories at one single meal. And all you have to do is look up the restaurant's menu ahead of time with their nutrition facts and make an educated estimate as to the things you can order without going over your daily calorie needs, and you will still wake up lighter the next day. The only caveat being to that is if it's really salty food that you normally don't eat, you may hold a little extra water. But the other way, and generally the better way, is to just make your own food at home. And what I like to do is make my own pastas at home where I can measure the ingredients individually and I can make my pasta and I know exactly how much calories are in that meal. So when I eat it and I don't gain weight, I know it's because I stayed within my boundaries. I had food that was fun and original, but it wasn't anything that was taking me out of bounds with the progress of my diet. So are you going crazy on your cheat meals? Are you adding new things to your diet that you didn't originally have in your diet when you started? Those are going to be the most obvious contributors to a lack of progress later in someone's diet. And then finally, what usually causes this to happen is a lack of sleep and overtraining. If you're training more than you can recover from and you're sleeping poorly, those two things are very stressful for the body. And when we're in a high stress, under-recovered situation, our body will actually start to release hormones that boost hunger. And all of a sudden, you're very food focused to try and feed your body with something that can compensate for the lack of recovery from poor sleep. So if you want really good progress on your diet, get a ton of sleep. Make sure you're recovering well from your workouts, and make sure that you're accounting for all the calories that you're eating and being aware.